Well, for more now on the U.S. China tariff row and the shifting global trade, we're going to bring in Joshua Meltzer. He is a senior fellow in the Global Development and Economy program at Brookings Institution. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So China's strongly condemning the U.S. for what it calls a unilateral move and saying it's going to damage the world economy. What is your take on this, Joshua?
I think certainly that there's concern that the United States and the administration is going to be pursuing a path towards their concerns about trade with China that is inconsistent with trade commitments, whether at the World Trade Organization or other free trade agreements. The United States administration has used various domestic procedures so far to elevate its concerns and to make it clear to China and other countries where those concerns lie. The question now is, what type of path forward do they take? Are they consistent with rules as we know them, or are they going to be outside the rules?
So China has now actively sought the WTO dispute settlement mechanism, if you will, to solve this. Is this a good path for them in trying to reach an agreement or get the resolution they would like?
I certainly think to the extent that the WTO can play a constructive role in this developing bilateral dispute, that's got to be a good thing. The World Trade Organization is the multilateral rules-based system which underpins all of the world's trading systems. And using the rules and the dispute settlement process at the WTO channels the dispute into the rules-based system and, in a sense, can reinforce commitment to the rules to resolve these tensions.
So China does not appear to be alone in thinking the unilateralism approach is not good. Some other U.S. allies, even like Japan, are weighing in.
Well, I think everyone would like to see a rules-based solution. We need to recognise that there are challenges in the bilateral relationship which the current set of trade commitments may not adequately address. And I think the administration is grappling with the extent that the rules-based system can adequately address their concerns in their relationship with China, and to what extent they follow those rules in addressing those concerns, and to what extent there are other issues that China hasn't made commitments on but are still of economic and trade concern to the administration.
Could the U.S. continue on this path, talking about the tariffs, even if the WTO weighs in?
No, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's up to each WTO member to decide whether or not they want to follow WTO rules and commitments. If the United States pursues a path which is inconsistent with those rules, they can be found to be in violation, which then can lead to authorization for other countries to retaliate. In a sense, the WTO is not well suited, in fact, for dampening trade wars, because the resolution that the WTO provides is further tariff escalation.
Is there any precedent for that? Have we seen that happen before?
Well, since the development of the WTO in 1995 and its predecessor, the GATT, we've actually really avoided major trade wars. There certainly have been certain situations where trade tension has risen. If we go back to the situation with Japan in the 1980s, there were serious U.S.-Japan trade issues which had to get resolved. But the WTO and the multilateral system have been very good so far at managing these types of trade issues.
How can the two countries, in your opinion, come together at this point? China says it does not want to continue down this path of this sort of back and forth rhetoric between the two.
I think we're seeing on the Chinese side and also on the US side a bit of a carrot and stick approach, where the administration seems to be threatening an escalation of tariffs at this stage. No tariffs have come into effect, but at the same time holding out the possibility of negotiation. It doesn't seem that China is sort of amenable to this type of, being threatened by tariffs and then being sort of forced into a negotiating space. Both countries clearly, and the governments, need to identify more clearly, in the US in particular, what a resolution would look like to even start, I think, a sensible negotiation.
Seems like the President Trump anyway, is sort of like talking this tough talk and then backing off of it, saying that they're such good friends. It doesn't seem to be going over well with President Xi.
No, well, there's a very complex and broad bilateral relationship between the US and China. And I think Trump is signaling that he doesn't want this specific trade issue to derail all the other areas of fruitful cooperation that are going on. So in that sense, it's a positive signal. But certainly the administration is dealing with various domestic pressures, whether it's from the agricultural community or the way the market's reacting on Wall Street to the possibility of a trade dispute.
All righty. Well, Joshua Meltzer, we'll have to leave it right there with Brookings. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.